Okay, this is going to be a lesson on the use of GeoGebra, and it's some of the very basic tools that we're going to be using. And whenever you open up the program, this is the default screen that they give us. Now, we're not going to be using the algebra column, so you're going to want to click the X and close it. And now you see you have this coordinate plane with the axis and them all named and so forth. Anyway, we want to get rid of that. So we're just going to click up here on the little box for the axis. So now we have a blank screen to work with. The next thing that I'm going to say is that as we go through this course, you're going to be creating some new GeoGebra files to experiment and learn about some geometric concepts. So you're going to need to become familiar with these basic tools that I'm about to show you. Now each tool has its own icon, and the icons are arranged along the top of the GeoGebra window. You're going to see all of those right here. And you see as I go over them, it highlights their names. They're all grouped by similar functions, and in the step-by-step instructions you can find in your student guide and that I'm about to show you here, an icon is shown for the tool that you're going to need. Okay, now then, what I want to show you is that when you click on these little triangles, like this one just says move or grab objects, but if you click on this, see how it says move around a point, record to a spreadsheet, you click on the A point and it says you can do a point, you can do a point on an object, and there's all these different choices. Today the one that we're going to be using the most is this straight edge tool. Matter of fact, I don't know if they call it that anymore. They just call it whatever happens to be up there. But you'll see it referred to as the straight edge tool in the instructions in your student guide. But anyway, I click on the arrow, I can create a line, a segment with a given length, a ray, a polyline, a vector from a point. You're not going to be using those, by the way. Okay, so let's get on with some demonstration here. It says, and actually it's going through and it's telling the things that I've already told you. Alright, now we're going to select the new point tool and we're going to create a point. Notice right here I could change its color to red. It's blue, so I'm going to leave it blue, but I mean you could change it to any color that you wanted up here. This right here is going to tell me how I'm going to set my point style. Right now I just want that little circle dot. I could change it to an X, an open circle, and so on. And then right here is I can click and I can tell it to name it, and it's naming it A. I can click on hidden and it goes away. That's important to know, especially for the honor students later on. Now then, it says, if I've never known the points to already have names, but if it didn't, it usually doesn't have a name and they tell you you need to name it. All you need to do for this is to go in. If you don't go up here and click name right there, you can right click on the point itself and say show label and it'll name it. Oh, I made another point, didn't mean to do that. If you click on, you make a point you don't mean to do it, you just right click and you click on delete. Okay, now we're going to find the third tool, which is right here, the line tool, and it's telling us that it mimics a straight edge. Okay, so that's why they call it the straight edge tool. They say click on the tiny triangle and we can see what all the other tools are, and I've already kind of gone through those with you. And it tells us to go ahead and select the segment tool. So I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to go down into the area, the sketch area, and I'm going to construct the first endpoint of the line segment, and there it is. Then you just go off like this and you click and it creates the other endpoint. Now what we're going to want to do is let's go ahead and name those. So I can, whoa, there I go again, clicking things I'm not supposed to be. And I can't figure out how to get out of it. Let's delete that whole thing. See, anytime you make a mistake like this, you can just go through and just delete, delete, delete. Or you can just keep creating things like Miss Poor's doing. I'm going to go up here and click this tool. That's the best way to quit creating things. Now I'm going to go back and create the segment. And then to name it, you can click on it, come up here, and it's going to name it. Click here, name. All right, and as I said before, you can also go in and just right click on it and tell it to show label. All right, the next thing they're going to have us do is go in and we're going to change the name of point C to Z. Okay, because sometimes your instructions will tell you to name it a particular letter. So what I'm going to do is I right clicked on the point, and you see right here it says point C. I'm going to go down to object properties. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to highlight where it says C, and I'm going to type in Z. Notice it's a capital Z. Your points are always named with capital letters. I just click right there just to click. Then I'm going to close the window, and I've changed the name of that point to Z. Okay, now what I'm going to show you is how you can move things around. I can go right here and I can click on that point tool, the arrow tool. See where it says I can move, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, click in my area. Notice how my cursor, it's called crosshairs, looks like a plus sign. I'm going to go up and I'm going to highlight that line. See how it changed to an arrow? Once it's changed to an arrow, that's telling you that that object is highlighted. Now I can left click and see how it changed to a little finger or hand with a finger. Now I can move that around anywhere I want. And watch here, I can click on the point Z and move it around like this. Woo, woo, like a pendulum, see? All right. The next thing they're going to want to show us is the line tool. Now watch this. I can click here. I can go over here. You know, whenever we're drawing lines on a piece of paper, we say if we want it to go on infinitely in both directions, we need to put arrows on it. Well, GeoGebra doesn't put arrows. It just disappears off the screen. And the way that you can confirm that this is a line, if you needed to, is you can just move it either way you want. And you can see basically what we're doing is we're showing, hey, it's going off forever in one direction or the other. Notice how I can also click on this point and I can move the line around like this. And it doesn't matter which point you click on, they'll all let you move around. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an array. So here's my array. I'm going to come down here and click. See? There we go. And then I'm going to click right there. And then I'm going to come to my arrow tool. And that's my array. Now remember, if we were drawing this on a piece of paper, the line that shoots off upward, we would have an arrow there. But like I said, GeoGebra doesn't do an arrow. They're showing you that it's disappearing off the screen because it's going off into infinity. And just like the others, I can grab this point and move the array around. I can come over here and grab the point here. See how that line gets longer? And move it around there. If I wanted to show what its name is, I just say show label. Notice we went from A, B, this was C, okay? Then D, actually it's A, B, Z, and I bet they called this C. Let's see what they did name it. Yep, they named it C. I can go over here, show that one, it's D. That one's going to be E. Notice how they go chronologically from the order I created the points. And there's F. Okay. Now, they're also giving us some tips here on how you can do some things. It says to construct a point on an existing line segment array, select the new point tool, then click on the line segment array. The line will highlight when your cursor is directly over it. So let's look. I'm going to click on the new point tool. I just want a new point. Actually, you can do point on an object. And look here, I've got the crosshairs. When it changes to an arrow, it's highlighted. So that means I can add my new point, and there's my new point on the object. I can do the same for my line. I can do the same thing for my ray. And if I wanted to change their color to show, well, they did change it to gray, but I'm going to change it to red. That's going to show you that that's the new point I created. As a matter of fact, I like using my arrow tool so I don't create more things than what I want. There you go. You can see all the new points that I created on each of those objects are all red, and they're on the object themselves. Now, if you want to assure yourself that it's on the object, just grab a point. See how that red dot stays on that ray? And I can even move, well, how about I'm creating some new points? Let me delete that new point. I don't know how I did that. There we go. I'm moving my ray. See how my new point stays there? I'm moving my line. The new point staying there. Moving my segment. The new point is staying there. And look here. And then I have this random point out here that I have no idea. I just accidentally created it and it's there now. Okay, I've already shown you how to change the color of any object, but say I wanted to go and change this segment. You can right click on it and you can go to object properties. You can also just click on it to highlight it. Come over here to your colors. I love purple, so I'm changing it to purple. I can come to this line, highlight it. I'm going to change that to a yellow. I'm coming here. I'm going to change that one just to green. Alright, so there's a lot of neat things you can do in here. It says if you run out of room on a drawing pad, you can create a new blank page. If you want to keep your current pad open, you're going to select File and a new window. If I want to save, I'm just going to go down here to Save As and name it anything you want to name it. Put it anywhere you want to. Just remember where that's at. And if you just want to start with a clean document and get rid of this one, that's fine too. All you have to do is click on New. It'll say, hey, do you want to save your changes? And you say save or don't save. So everything I just did is gone. Thank you for listening to this short but sweet lesson on the basics of GeoGebra, and I will come back with more information at a later date. Bye-bye.